Perfect time, right in the middle of the main card. All right, now this is another one. This is a featherweight scrap. Now we've got next up between Rodrigues and DULGARIAN. Now we're finally getting to see Rodrigues move up, and I don't know why it took this long. I mean, the guy has missed almost every fight he's had at 155. He's missed weight at almost every single fight he's had at 135. And I'm gonna say this now. I wouldn't be surprised if he missed weight at 145 as well. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, he's an arsehole.
You think he's that?
I think he's that much of a dick. I do. I think he does it on purpose. I genuinely do.
Right.
I think he gets down to like a certain weight and then he's just like, fuck it. If they turn down the fight, fuck it. I'm going in there fresh as a daisy, and I think that's his game plan. And he's gonna need it today because, like, I just think the guy. You know how we've talked about weight misses and cheating. We've done videos about it before. It's embodied in this particular weasel. Like, he's done it so many times, and I'm amazed that the UFC has let it happen that many times, because he did it on the Contender Series twice. He did it, and he's done it in the UFC 3 times, and they've still allowed him to fight at 135. I think it's one of those ones where they're like, "Nah, bro. Like, you're doing 145, and if you don't make this, you're packing." Like, honestly, because he's a piss taker. He's a habitual piss taker, is what he is. So, like, for many reasons, not just the fact that he's a cheater, I'm gonna take DULGARIAN because, like, I watched this fight against Francis Marshall with particular interest because I've seen this guy. I saw this guy a lot on the regionals, and he was the underdog in that fight with Francis Marshall. And it's another one I was telling you about with who was that dude we were talking about before who made me a lot of money, and he was the underdog. Well, he was the favorite. Oh, it was a welterweight guy. The Hawaiian dude. Doesn't matter. Anyway, somebody we talked about on a card a couple of fights ago.
Brad Tavares or
no. He was a welterweight. He lost his last fight as well against I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'll pop it up, so I'll have a little note down in the corner of who it was. But it was a very similar situation where DULGARIAN was like a big underdog against Francis Marshall, and I couldn't believe it. I bet a bucket load on him because I know how good he is, and he went in there against Francis Marshall, who's really good, and he murdered that man. You know, the only thing that scares me a little bit about this fight is, again, it's stuff we've talked about before. With, like, DULGARIAN has had 6 professional MMA fights, right? And he's won all of them in the first round. And the thing about Rodrigues is, I think Rodrigues is actually good, despite all the shit talking I've just said about him and how scummy he is. Like, he's a good fighter. Like, he's durable, he's tough to get out of there. Like, I was a bit worried in his first round with the boy, the 18-year-old boy, who ragdolled him a little bit and just gassed himself out. Yeah. Who gassed himself out a little bit. But what worries me is that I would not be surprised if he manages to get out of the first round with DULGARIAN, who is like, very good wrestler. Like, I think he was D2 level, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
At an elite school, and was very, like, he's a very good striker as well. Got a lot of pop in his strikes. I worry though, what happens if Rodrigues gets out of that first round? So the way that I can probably see it going is I could see DULGARIAN dominating in the first round, winning the second round, and then potentially losing the third round. Like, I don't think he's going to starch out Rodrigues like everyone seems to be thinking he will, because I think this is his toughest fight yet. And as good as DULGARIAN is, I think Rodrigues is going to be hard to get out of there, and he's probably going to come in there 5 pounds overweight as well, the prick. So I'm going to take DULGARIAN, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people that I've seen talk about this are suggesting. I'm gonna go DULGARIAN though, because I think he's good as well. Tricky.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go Rodrigues. I do recognize all of his weight issues, 100%. He's definitely had a problem pushing away from the table. But I do think that he is a good fighter, and he showed me a lot as far as his mental game after being thrown around by Raul Rosas Jr. He could have given up and just allowed, what was supposed to happen, but he didn't. He showed that he was the adult in the cage, and he was able to inflict his game on Raul Rosas. So I think that he showed a lot of maturity there, and I hope he shows that same maturity when he goes to the scales this time. But I'm going to show him a little bit of faith, and I'm going to go with Christian Rodrigues on this one. But I have no faith in this, and I wouldn't put any sort of money on it at all whatsoever.
That's a fantastic fight. It's a they're both very, very good. And one thing that I forgot to mention about Rodrigues as well is one aspect of his game that I really like. He never panics, and you kind of alluded to that with the Raul Rosas Jr. fight. Like when Rosas Jr. was ragdolling him around, he just had this expression on him like, all right, I'm gonna wait for you to finish, and then you're not gonna beat me down here. I'm just gonna stay calm, and then when the fight's back where I want it to be, I'm gonna take over. And there's a lot to be said about fighters that have that kind of mentality, and we haven't seen DULGARIAN in any kind of danger, and that's always a concern. Whenever you get guys that go in there with like a first round, they're first rounding people over and over, and it's like, wow, great. What happens when that doesn't happen?
Yeah,
and that's always the worry. And Rodrigues has been in there with some dudes, so great fight. Again, this is not one I'm betting on, but because you can get DULGARIAN at very good odds, and Rodrigues is actually the underdog. I think he's like a plus 175. So if you're a Rodrigues guy, this could be a good opportunity to make some money if you have real faith in him, which I wouldn't blame you for having.
Yeah.